Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Legion Patreon episode of the Friday Nightmares podcast. On this episode, we are going to be talking top 5 80s slashers. And I am 1/3 of your hosting team this evening, coming to you from Swartz Creek in the county of Genesee, in the state of Michigan, in the United States of America, in the North American continent, in the Western Hemisphere, on planet Earth, in the Milky Way galaxy. I am Mr. Smoke Show Crawford. And with me, as always...
I thought you didn't do your other intro. You're waxed.
Oh, shit.
Waxed and ready to be called Daddy.
Yeah,
but there's someone else who's going to compete with you for that title tonight.
That is true.
So Heather Powell coming to you today from Waterdown, Ontario, Canada. But with us is a gentleman that I had a pleasure of connecting with probably almost 2 years ago now in August. I can't believe it's been 2 years. He made fun of me and made these really funny memes about me before he even knew who I was, because I think he thought I was obsessed with this another podcaster that will remain nameless. And anyway, we ended up becoming Facebook friends. I found out that he had a commentary and I listened to it and gone on it a bunch of times. And I have never laughed so hard as when I've been listening and been on that commentary with him. He also is the mastermind behind It's Not Horror, Okay. One of the funniest dudes out there, one of the nicest people out there, very generous, and the master of Plex. Welcome, Newty, to the show.
Well, hello, everybody, and what a hell of an introduction. I'm just upset that Scott didn't go by his new nickname of Mr. Squeegee.
I say
the Smoke Show has been retired, damn it.
The Smoke Show has been retired on It's Not Horror. It's still here on the Friday Nightmares.
Scott has two personalities, as you'll find out today, Newty. He's very different than what he's like on It's Not Horror.
Gotcha.
But thanks so much for being here today. Do you mind telling us a little bit, for the people that haven't listened to your commentaries before, what got you into podcasting and what you're up to now?
Well, I basically used to work third shift security by myself, doing this dinner show place that I had to take care of the horses and walk around, make sure nobody broke in. So I got myself an iPad and started listening to all these different podcasts. I found a bunch of horror shows, and there was one out there that I listened to called All My Heroes Wear Masks, which they're not doing shows anymore, but I think they're still online if you can look for them. And they were just these drunk bastards from Illinois that would just drink and talk about movies, and they made me laugh. And I used to email them all the time and give them suggestions and bust their balls. And then it started with the voicemails. And that's where I actually met Jake and another guy named Steve Magoo, who doesn't really podcast anymore. And we decided to start our own show. And I forget the name of the original show, but we were doing commentary shows, like just riffing on movies like MSK 3000 and all that stuff. And MST. It's a name of a wrestling group, MSK.
But the worst part is we were all like, oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
But yeah, we just started doing that. And then Horrorphilia Jason was like, hey, I want to do a show on my site. So if you want to come on, just do it. We'll host it. And we changed the name to the NFW podcast for No Effing Way. And, here we are almost 400 episodes later, and little offshoot shows here and there, which Heather is part of one and Scott is part of one. So, probably got about 3 or 4 shows and, guest starring on all these other shows as well. And it's a pleasure to be here.
And we're very thankful to have you on finally. Like we've been talking about trying to get you on for a bit and what format to do it. And we figured what better than do 80s slashers.
Yeah, this is a good one to have me on. This is my heyday of movies right there.
And I wouldn't be into podcasting if it wasn't for Neil and Jerry. So I have both Neil and Jerry to thank, because I never would have done it. The first time I went on NFW, do you remember, Neil, you being like, Heather, you going to talk? Heather, you going to say anything? Because I was just sitting there because I didn't know how the format worked, because everyone was like talking and sharing jokes and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I like this movie. It's good.
That happens a lot with first time podcasters. Like, if anybody knows that listens to my show, we have anybody that wants to come on. So a lot of times it'll be a listener who've never done a podcast in their life, and they come on the show and they have a good time, we think. And sometimes they come back, sometimes they don't, but I'm willing to let anybody come on and show me what they got, because that's what we're here for, to have fun.
You're very inclusive, Neil.
Yeah.
You're very inclusive.
I am Very much.
Very much
Despite
so.
my persona at times.
Very kind.
Well, I'll say
Very
you were
kind.
very welcoming to have me on, because I'd never really worked with you
It was like
before.
charity
Well,
work.
you were kind of crowbarred in with Heather forcing me to take you on, but you
It's
kind of
true.
grew on me like a fungus.
Just like I wanted.
Just like herpes. Just like herpes.
Yeah, just like herpes. They never go away.
But no, honestly, we have such a good time on It's Not Horror. We work with two other well-known podcasters, Android Virus and Venom. And honestly, like some of our shows, I'm like, I can't even get people to listen to this because they'll be so offended off of everything we've said. If you get offended easily, obviously it's a joke show and it's over the top. And it's, we talk about corny action movies or whatever. So, listen to it understanding that it's an exaggerated version of ourselves, but it is a lot of fun. We have a good time.
Yeah, it's a blast. And our personalities are completely different on there, because we can just be complete jackasses.
Like you, Scott, you are like the completely different person.
Yes,
if someone like wouldn't even know who you are. Newty's consistent. All right. Neil is consistent. Who he is who he is on all his shows. Not you.
No, not at all.
So our top list today, Scotty already talked about it. We're going to be talking about slashers from the 80s. Now, we had no rules for this as of usual, except for it had to be in the 80s and it had to be considered a slasher. And I have no interest in having to debate whether something is a slasher or not. So it is not going to happen.
Fine.
Fuck that shit. If you think it's a slasher, then it's a fucking slasher. So what we usually do, Neil, is we'll each go around and give our honorable mentions, how many we have. If you have 500, that's fine. We can sit through your entire list.
I only have 3 because I didn't want to go on all day, so I put
you made
3.
it sound like you had tons. What do you mean you only have 3?
I did, but I just put 3 as a list because I could talk all fucking day about 80s slashers. So
well, you'll probably bring some to the table that I don't even know about, because I Googled 80s slashers and I was like, oh, fuck, there's a lot here.
Yes,
and I tried to watch a couple. Like I watched Mortuary and Hospital Massacre, or what was
with Barbie Benton.
should be a porn. Like I was waiting for some fucking sex to happen.
She's gorgeous.
She is, but oh man, that movie.
That movie is something else.
She used to date Hugh Hefner.
I could see that.
She was
that
one of
makes
his
a lot
playmates.
Of sense. One of his many playmates, right?
Yeah.
All right, Scotty, do you want to start us off with your honorable mentions?
Sure. So I ended up having 5, and I guess I'll say this right now. I decided to just kind of challenge myself, and I left off all franchises just because with me, my top 5 would have been basically just all the big franchises. And
Friday, 1 to 5.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. In that order, too.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I'm just doing all one-offs. Maybe some of these may, have like a sequel, but they're not considered a trilogy or a franchise. So my 5 honorable mentions, I'm just gonna read them off real quick, but that is The Mutilator, 1984, just because that movie's just so silly and fun.
Fall break.
Fall break.
Going on a fall break.
That was one of my honorable mentions.
Oh, nice.
Aww.
I also have Alone in the Dark, because I just at least have to give this one a shout out because such a fucking amazing cast. Then we have New Year's Evil from 1980, because once again, another just fun, silly slasher.
Evil.
Yeah, my name is Evil.
I haven't seen this. I'm gonna have to watch this.
Oh, it is fun. My Bloody Valentine, just because I fucking love it, but at the same time, I just couldn't fit it in my top 5.
Yeah.
Another one of my honorables.
Yeah.
Just for that same reason, I didn't want to. And it's not a franchise, but it's a really well-known one.
Yeah.
So it's one that you watch every year on Valentine's Day. So.
Yep, that's exactly how I felt.
See, I just added 2 more to my list now because Scott crossed off 2 of them.
Perfect.
That's perfect.
And then the other one is House on Sorority Row from 1982.
Oh, that's a great movie.
Yeah, fucking
Great
love that
movie.
movie. So yeah, how about you, Newty? What are your honorable mentions?
I want to go with He Knows You're Alone,
Nice.
starring Tom Hanks's first film, and it just got a Blu-ray release recently from Screen Factory, which
I didn't know
happened to pick up. Yep, and Happy Birthday to Me. I mean,
Good.
it's a little long in the tooth in some parts, but the kills in it are really good, and even though it's not really bloody, and that Scooby-Doo ending will never be forgotten.
Yes.
And this movie, a Thanksgiving tradition now, Blood Rage. I
Nice.
saw this when I was a kid I rented it on VHS, and it was one of those movies with thousands and thousands of horror VHSs that never really stuck with me. And then we watched it on, I think, Android Vision, and I was like, this fucking movie is classic. Like, I the next day I went and bought it, and I believe it's an Arrow release.
Yep.
So there's like 3 different versions of the film on there, and all kinds of extras and specials. And this movie just it kicks ass. Like the kills are amazing in it, and the blood everywhere. It looks spectacular. And so that's definitely a every year watch around Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I love that fucking movie.
I did not.
You do
but
not?
I like the kills in it. I just found it, I don't know, maybe I just wasn't in the mood for it, because I usually like cheesy slashers. So I have no idea why I would be like, I wouldn't say I didn't like it. It wasn't my favorite, but I did enjoy some of the kills in the film.
Well, it is corny and cheesy, a lot cheese of it, but that's, I think, part of its charm too.
Yep,
yeah.
Agreed.
Like the acting is kind of really the worst. The killer is a weird actor. The mom is overacting the whole film, but I think that's part of the charm of the movie.
Absolutely. It's lovable, right? That's the point of these slashers. They're lovable. They really are. I guess my turn, Scotty.
Yep.
All right. I also had The House on Sorority Row, 1982.
Nice.
Great fucking film. I love them ladies, and I just think there's some funny fucking lines in that film.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, there are.
Like the garbage dump scene where they're rolling it down the street. Like,
they hit the cop car.
It's just funny. I could see that happening to me. Possibly tomorrow night.
One of the best pranks too that are done in horror, like the slashers too. It's just so ridiculous.
Yes, you gotta love like how in 80s slashers it's always like the pranks gone bad, right?
Yes.
Like,
Scott mentioned pranks, that the dorm that drip blood, aka pranks.
Yeah.
That's another one that's got a really decent Blu-ray release with Daphne Zuniga's film debut.
Yeah,
awesome.
I watched that a long time ago.
I did get to see House on Sorority Row 2 years ago in the theater around Halloween. It was amazing. But the theater over modulated the volume, so it was really, really like super loud. But it was still an amazing chance to see it, even though there was like 2 people in the theater, me and my brother.
Hey, even better. You had to deal with other fuckers in the theater. Even better.
It was so nice to be able to see it in the theater. Like you can say, hey, another one I saw in the theater. So that was cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
That's sweet.
I'm glad we all have good memories of that film. Nice. That's awesome. Maniac, 1980.
Nice.
But I love the main character. Like, I think he's actually like, besides being super psycho, I think he's not that bad. Like, I kind of feel sorry for him. And I always found this film made me kind of like, aw, it's too bad he's so fucked up.
Yeah.
Heather would date him if he wasn't fucked up.
Right. I would. I'd be like, he's kind of my type. So, I probably would. He doesn't seem like that big of an asshole until he tries to murder you and, leave you in his apartment. So, very good movie though. Visiting Hours, 1982.
Oh, that's great too.
I thought that one might have been in your top 5. Okay.
Yeah, my top 5, when I get to it, I went with comfort films. So I went with films that if they're on TV or I have to struggle not to watch them because we're doing those first time watches now. I really have to try not to put them on. So, but Visiting Hours, I love the chick. I feel like that's me. That's me all the way. How angry she is throughout the entire film.
I gotta add one more honorable mention now that I'm thinking.
Say it.
Terror Train. Like I love that movie. I got the poster
so
right
good.
there. I love the aspect of the killer changing costumes and they never know who it is. And the movie itself goes by really quick. I love the whole atmosphere of the train and they're in closed quarters, and another really good one in my opinion.
I agree. And I think you've made the point about going quick. And I have noticed with slashers, either it goes quick or it fucking drags. Like there's some slashers that, and sometimes the slow drag is worth, whatever the outcome is. And sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
And you just feel like you wasted your time.
Well, I'll say, because a lot of slashers, they may be a little slow, but that's the one thing I love about slashers is they have some fun characters. If you have some fun characters, it could take a while before the killer gets there, and I won't mind.
There's one in my top 5 that people notoriously blame for being super ass slow. But to Scott's point, there's amazing characters in this film. So
awesome. Well, we look forward to hearing about it. The last one I have, actually 2. I do love Slaughter High, 1986.
Oh yeah,
that's a good one.
It's another good one.
And then my love for Student Bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I turn you on to that?
You absolutely did. I think it was because of you that I watched it. And I love satires on the best of days, and that movie, like every time the chick's like, oh, maybe she's just helping him, he's helping her find a washroom and they're going out to bang and shit. Like there's the breather as the antagonist, holy fuck, or like him walking up those stairs and being like, how many fucking stairs are there? Like it's just funny. Like it's funny.
He steps in gum.
Right?
Love it.
Oh my god, I love that humor. It's right up my alley. So those are my personal honorable mentions. So
yeah, those are good honorable mentions. Holy shit.
Oh yeah, they're good.
Yeah. Oh, I'll say, but that's the thing about the 80s. The 80s had so many damn good slashers.
That's true. I could have ran a bunch more, but I didn't want to be here all day, like you said.
Right.
We could have been.
I mean, The Burning. This is so many.
I think we may hear some more coming in our top 5.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I was gonna say, because I think I had my list was about 35 that I had written down, and I had to whittle it down to 10. I'm going, this is fucking tough.
Whatever. Newty had like 200. He knew there were slashers that you didn't even fucking know about, Scott.
I mean, I wouldn't be fucking shocked.
Most of them were on Plex.
Right?
Right?
It's true. I did find a lot of them on Plex. He's not kidding. I tried to watch like some new ones, and they're on Plex. Thank you, Newty. # buy Newty shit. So,
Oh,
Scotty, do you want to start us off with your number 5?
Oh yeah. So for my number 5, I went with 1987's Stage Fright, also known as Aquarius.
Oh, nice.
This movie, it's kind of like, it's directed by Michel Suave, and like I've seen most of his films now. I think the only one I haven't seen now is The Sect. But everything he's done, I have freaking enjoyed. But yeah, this movie just stands out to me. The killer with the owl mask is just freaking great. Like it's just such an iconic look, and the kills are incredible. The music in it is just suitably creepy, has that amazing score to it that's just always playing in the background. And I love the fact that it's pretty much a slasher that's happening with a theater troupe. And it's just super freaking cool. Love the concept of it. And the kills, love it all. But yeah, my number 5 is Stage Fright, 1987.
Awesome.
And I'll say, Newty, how about you? What is your number 5?
My number 5 is 1980s Prom Night. Another
nice
slow movie that everybody bitches and moans about being slow, but it's when it does get to the point where the kills start happening, it's pretty decent kills. Stalking scenes inside the dance where he's chasing after the blonde chick is really good, and the beheading scene is really shocking. I mean, it's got everything in it. It's got Jamie Lee Curtis and Leslie Nielsen. I mean, what more can you ask for?
Couldn't agree more. I had it as an honorable mention, but I didn't want to be here all day either. We just talked about it on our Canadian episode that just went on last month. So, love Prom Night.
Yeah,
great.
And I was one of the guilty people there that used to hate it because it was so slow, and then I rewatched it last year because I didn't remember shit from it, so I forced myself to rewatch it just as a first time watch. I'm going, okay, there's got to be something about this, and yeah, I fucking love it now. Like the first time I watched it, I just felt it was boring, but yeah, rewatching it, I'm going, these characters are fucking awesome, and like I'm actually like glued to the screen.
Yeah, so, you feel for them all. You don't like hate any of them really. I mean, they're all, they're just a bunch of kids going to school and something happened, but you feel for every one of them, especially the virgin girl who's like gets dumped by her boyfriend because she won't put out, and she's like snotting and crying, and and then she gets away. Then she gets put away. It's like you feel bad for her.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'll say that's like one of the few slashes where like the characters for me, like I actually felt for every single one of them.
But we were talking though, Scott, that 80s films where they couldn't pull it off necessarily in tons of special effects, which I think a lot of films rely on now, they relied on character development.
Yes.
So maybe the gore, at the time isn't what you could do in 2020, but you care more. As Newty said, you feel bad for this chick. She's crying, she's sad. So when she gets chased, you're like, oh, fuck, that sucks. It pulls from your emotions a little bit more. And I do think 80s slashers do that well. Prom Night was one of them, right? Yeah. And you feel bad at the end. Like at the end, you're like, oh, fuck, nobody won here.
Right.
Like, it's shitty. Like all around, it's just shitty, right? So really solid
even
film.
The ending, you still feel bad.
Right, yeah. You still feel bad. And you
bad for the killer.
Absolutely. Like you get what he was doing. He was avenging, spoilers, everyone, for someone who hasn't seen 1980 Prom Night. He was avenging his sister's death. Like, I can't say I wouldn't want to do the same thing, in all fairness. Like, maybe I would. Who knows?
All
If
right,
only
keep that in
you had a
mind.
sister.
Right? That's why I don't have any siblings. All right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Heather, what is your number 5?
well, I never thought you would ask, Scott, but it's Graduation Day,
Oh.
1981.
Nice.
Yeah, it fucking is. I think that film is the perfect mix of plot twist. Of they really make you think it's a specific character throughout this film, and then you find out it's not, and they actually give you a reason to, which is a little bit better. Like another one I really like is Fatal Games, which I'm pretty sure took some inspiration from this movie. But I find with Fatal Games, the ending is kind of like wah wah, like it.
Yeah.
Like you kind of get it, but you're not like, well, why? They're like, this is why, right? And even though the ending is a silly reason as to why, I just enjoy the kills. Like the vault kill is my favorite. First vault into like the bed of nails. I find that like awesome. So Graduation Day to me is definitely one of my favorite comfort slashers.
That's awesome. Because I actually just watched that for the first time last year.
Oh yeah? What did you think of it, Scotty?
I fucking loved it.
Nice. Not love enough to be on your top 5 though.
Well, there's others that were competing. Like I said, 80s is a tough year to do. I could probably rotate like a lot of these movies around, like if I thought about it again.
Oh,
yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. We could have done franchises and
right.
Probably had a top 5 each, right? So
it's
easily. Also early appearance of Lemoi Quigley in that movie as well.
Yeah. Look at Newty with the facts. Good thing we have him here. We're gonna sound smart on this episode.
You're gonna get your worst feedback ever on the show because
never. They're gonna be like, "Can you have on that dude that actually knows shit, not you and Scott? You don't know anything."
We just kind of fly by the seat of our pants.
We totally do. We get names of movies.
That's the best way to podcast,
right?
It totally is. Right. I mean, hell, our last episode we talked about Eden Lake, and like for the first half hour we called it Lake Eden.
Lake Eden. It's a new movie, Newty. Check it out. It's the sequel to Eden Lake.
Because we're jackasses.
Yeah, we can't read it either. Anyway.
All right, so my number 4. So my number 4 actually kind of got briefly mentioned, and that is 1981's The Burning. Fucking just
I love that movie.
This movie is fantastic. Like it's got like once again a lot of great fucking characters, a lot of up and coming actors that didn't really have a start yet. The kills, especially like once they were able to edit all the kills back in after being cut to shit because of the whatever you call it, but like the the boat,
MPAA.
MPAA, but yeah, like that fucking raft and boat kill. Oh my god, so fucking good. And some of like Tom Savini's like early work, I love it. And like it's obviously has a lot of similarities to Friday the 13th Part 2 with like the way it plays out in the beginning and all that. But and it's kind of funny because they were filmed at the exact same time, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I just love this movie. I can watch it. It's pretty much one of my summer go-tos. Like I watch it every summer. Just fun movie.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah.
And can't forget Glazer.
Yeah, Glazer.
I love how he like comes too quick.
Yes.
And then she's like, "It's okay, we can fuck again." I'd be like, "Yeah, we're fucking again."
You better get it up right now.
A few times.
You better get rested.
Take your vitamins. Yeah, the young kid, what was his name? Albert?
Oh, Alfred.
Yes,
Is it
Alfred. He went on to do Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and
he did.
And Holly Hunter's in that movie, and George Costanza's in that movie. So it's a lot of young up and coming actors.
Upcoming talent.
Good stuff.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd seen that probably about 10 years ago, and I'm just going, oh, no shit. Oh, no shit. Oh, I know that person. Like, but
it's interesting when you watch it now, right?
Yeah.
Another good Screen Factory Blu-ray release, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Love that one. Newty, what is your number 4?
All right. My number 4 is another one that's gracing my poster wall, 1982's Humongous. I have a thing for 80s monster slasher movies. Like I love these movies with these big giant monster type guys in these movies. And this one, it was filmed Paul Lynch too, another one who he did Prom Night. So back to back Paul Lynch movies there.
Oh, nice.
But This one was filmed really dark, so a lot of stuff you can't see. And the Blu-ray come out, it's a little bit cleared up, so you can see a little more of the creature and the effects of the creature. And he looks really scary. And it's another one of those atmospheric movies that I just love. These kids get stranded on an island with the dog island, they call it, where something happened earlier and they get stranded, their boat crashes in the rocks, so they're stuck there overnight and there's a killer on the island. And it's just one of those movies that I've HBO and back in the day and always watched it. And just one of those things. I bought the VHS of this movie. I got the poster. I bought the DVD, and then I got the Blu-ray. So like it's one of those like one of those movies that always was on the top of my list, and I will always be able to watch it if it's ever on where I see it. And yeah, so Humongous.
That is one I've never seen before.
Me neither. Me neither. Wow.
You guys got to get on it. You might not like it so much, but that's worth coming on the show right here. Then a movie that neither one of you have seen that now you can go check out.
Yeah, it's like because I've heard of it, but I had no idea it was considered a slasher. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna check that out.
Definitely a slasher because he's nice. He's hunting down all these kids. So
I'll check it out for sure. That's awesome.
Yeah, I might actually watch it this weekend then.
Shit. So that's actually gonna watch it when we do the show.
Yeah, right now.
Yeah, he's got it on right now.
I need to fucking watch this. I can't believe I don't know what it is. My number 4, and it's probably going to surprise some people, but I absolutely loved this film the first time I saw it, and I wanted to be the main character's Hell Knight.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, nice. I wanted to be her. Only I would have put out in the castle. Let's make this clear. There would have been a sex scene, but it's Linda Blair, I believe, is in this, right? Yeah. Linda Blair, yeah. So I just thought her performance was really good, and the whole setup that you have to stay in this fucking creepy mansion and they're going to do all this stuff to her. And I just enjoyed the dread that was developed through it. I enjoyed the cinematography of it, the costume of it. Like, I just love it to death. And I don't know, maybe because it's a main female lead and it's just in a different kind of situation. I just really, really love this movie. So that's why it's my number 4.
It's a great movie. And I think it's also what I would consider a Halloween watch too. So yeah.
Yeah. So, spoiler alert, that was my number 3. So I'm going to put in a different movie for number 3 because there we go again. Monsters, slashers. It's basically the same type of movie as Humongous. So if you love Hellraiser Hell Knight that much, yeah, I think you'll really like Humongous.
Nice.
And again, the atmosphere in that movie it's incredible. Like, you got the costume party of the college kids getting locked in that haunted mansion overnight, and the kids trying to prank them. Unbeknownst to them, there is a killer on the loose. And you get the twists and turns of what's going on in the movie, and it's just great. And you have Peter Barton, who was in Friday the 13th, the final chapter. You have Timothy Van Patten of the famous Van Patten family, who played Seth, and he went on to be the lead anchor on the World Poker Tour.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, so he's been doing that and directing. He directed a ton of Sopranos episodes throughout his career. And so, again, another movie with a lot of famous people in it that went on to do stuff as they got older. And I mean, everybody knows Linda Blair. Gary Hill doesn't like her much, but she's out there and doing her thing with the dogs and their her pets and everything. So
well, my understanding is she doesn't want to talk about The Exorcist, right?
Yeah.
And you know what? That's her right.
Exactly. I mean,
like, maybe it sucks, but you could always talk about her with Hell Knight.
Yeah. Right? Well, she's been in so many other films, so yeah, I'm sure she's just tired.
All that stuff. Yeah.
Right.
So that's a great pick, Heather.
Thank you.
It's a great movie, and that's another movie that Gary thinks is a slow drizzle movie, but I just like that scene. Spoiler alert for another 40-year-old movie, but that scene when they're sitting on the floor or on the bed and watching the door, when he's holding that pitchfork to the door, waiting for the guy to come in, and he comes up behind him underneath the carpet, and that carpet's just rising as he's rising. You can't get any more creepier than that. Like, that is a scary scene. It's just it's such a good movie. And again, Shout Factory, Scream Factory,
right? And it's using practical effects well, and that's what these 80s films did. They didn't have the CGI that you have now, or the capability for even practical effects now. So it's more subtle scares, which I sometimes really do appreciate a little bit more.
Yeah, I'll say they get more creative with them, and I love them. So my number 3, another one that's kind of been briefly mentioned, but that is 1980s Maniac.
Nice.
This is in my top 10 horror films of all time. Joe Spinell is just so fucking good. He plays creepy and just disturbing and also very suave in this movie. He just kind of goes back and forth and he does it so freaking well. And just I feel dirty watching this movie.
Oh yeah, it's very grungy.
Yeah, like it's incredible how a film can make you feel just like you need to take a shower afterwards, and this film does it. It captures the whole like the 80s New York City, like just the way it's dirty and just grimy and just not cleaned up like it is nowadays, and it captures it well. The only other movie I can think of that does that is Basket Case.
I was just gonna say, yeah, Basket Case is another movie that fits that to a T.
Yeah, and Caroline Munro, fucking fantastic job. Like the kills are very awesome. I mean, you can't ever go wrong within Tom Savini's head getting blown off with a freaking shotgun.
Yep.
It's such a good fucking movie. And like this is one of those movies that can be dissected just because of like the trauma that Frank Zito went through and all this. And there's so many layers to it, even though you can just watch it and just be like a straight, just sit back and watch a just violent slasher film. But like, it's just one of those that can be done in so many ways. And it's fucking amazing.
You know, and every time I watch this movie, and I do respect the remake, don't get me wrong. I think Elijah Wood did an excellent job. I really hate how she has a boyfriend in the remake. I actually despise that part of the plot line, because what I enjoy the most about the original is this budding romance that's happening. And even when I rewatch the film, I'm like, no, can't it just work out? Like, can't he just not be fucked up? And like
you want him to have a normal life.
He'll be driving to the graveyard and I'm like, no, stop. Like it gets to me because I really see this kind of like, there's this budding romance happening between the two of them. She actually seems like she really does like him, you know, and I'm like, maybe this is his shot at normalcy. Like, yeah, he's murdered a whole bunch of people up to this point, but maybe, just maybe. And I find that a movie can do that is not only an effective slasher, it's an effective story.
Yes.
Right. And yeah, I love the story as well, Scott. Great choice.
Well, thank you. But yeah, I almost didn't put it on my list because I was like, I know some people don't consider it a slasher, but you know what? Fuck it. It's like, this is a slasher to me.
He slashes everything up in that movie. He uses a shotgun, he slashes people up. It's a slasher.
Yeah, that's exactly how I look at it. It's like there's no other way around it. So Newty, what is your number 3?
I mean, this one might be on the edge of calling it a slasher, but to me it is. 1980s Fade to Black.
Oh, yeah.
Stars Dennis Christopher as a movie buff who gets rejected by a Marilyn Monroe lookalike, and he sends him into a killing spree. He dresses up as different characters and kills off people in his life that spurn him. Yeah. So he dresses up as a vampire in one scene and dresses up as a mummy in one scene, and it's just a cowboy with gun shooting, and it's just a really psychological film to see this guy break down, and this was another one that's like one of my favorites from back in the day on TV all the time. It just got a release, I believe, from Vinegar Syndrome, but it was like $50, so I didn't purchase it, but I will get it. Apparently, at some point I will get this movie. But it stars Mickey Rourke, young Mickey Rourke in it.
Yeah.
Tim Thomerson.
I did not realize Mickey Rourke was in it. Holy shit.
Yeah, so this is another one that played on TV all the time back in the early 80s when those HBO cables started coming out, Prism channels, and all those preview channels and all these new up and coming cable channels. So they were battling for all these movies, and this was another one. The aspect of him dressing as movie monsters really drew me to it. And I mean, like I said, I can tell by my list that I like these movie monster types, and he always drew me to it. And Dennis Christopher is amazing as a psychotic. Like, he went on to play the lead stalker / killer in the Profiler TV series from the 90s. I don't know if you guys ever seen that show.
No, I have not.
It's on my Plex if you want to check it out. It's 4 seasons, but really the first 3 seasons are the best, and then the lead girl leaves. But she basically is an FBI profiler, and Robert Davi's in it. He's the lead of the FBI, and the serial killer is stalking her and her family throughout the series as she's solving other crimes. So yeah, anyway, we're not doing TV. So yeah, anyway, Fade to Black, 1980, Dennis Christopher. Check it out if you haven't seen it.
I actually watched this last year for the first time and fucking loved it. It was amazing. Like, It does the whole obsession really well, like just covering someone that is obsessed.
Mm-hmm.
And like I look at this and going, you know what? I could see this being any one of us podcasters, just the way we're like just so nerdy about the shit that we love, and it's like, and it's all about film. So I was like, I could totally see myself being this character.
What I really like about that movie
Maybe
is
not
that it's
killing
different.
somebody, but
Scott's like, it is me. We're making the remake with Scott. But I love how it was different. Like the plot line was just different enough that it wasn't, because I do feel like when you watch some slashers, it's either a prank, a scorned lover, someone's avenging their kid, you know, like there's just so much stuff there. This was just a dude that was rejected for the last time and he snapped.
Yep. His girl rejected him. He lost his job.
Right.
Like everything in his life is going bad and he just snapped.
I think it's a really good film. I think it's I don't use this term tons. I think it's underrated. I think a lot of people who think that it's not a slasher, I don't know why it is. But I think people don't give it a shot because maybe it doesn't fit that mainstream that other early 80s slashers do. Yeah. But thanks for bringing it to the table, Neil.
Yeah, that's an excellent
We're
choice.
all got a pretty damn good list so far.
Right?
Yeah. Well, you're going to really love my third, Neil. My third is Terror Train.
Nice.
There you go. See, that's why we do those honorable mentions and we take up other people's
that's okay
ones, but
I'm fine talking about it again. I had to really debate between this one and Prom Night, and I asked myself, if both were on TV and I had to choose one, which one am I watching? And it's Terror Train.
Yeah, I would go with that too. If they were both on at the same time, I would pick Terror Train, although I love them both.
Like, it's just that opening scene. You feel so bad for the prank that's played, and the train horror, that isolation piece of being on a train and not being able to escape it, and things happening in separate cars, and maybe you don't put it together. I just think that film was really ahead of its time for the 80s. And Jamie Lee Curtis is, there's a reason why she's a scream queen, and this just continued to solidify her title in that. So Terror Train, if for some reason you've skipped over it, both Newty and I recommend it. And Scott,
there's an interview out there with the killer. I think his name's Derek McKinnon. There's an article out there if you look it up, and he talks about his, how he played the transsexual / magicians, and I'm spoiling movies that have been out for 40 years.
That's okay. So, you can spoil.
Don't get mad. It's a 40-year-old movie.
These are 80s movies. If you watch them, then...
he talks about what it took to play the character. He's a gay man in real life, so it was kind of easy for him to do that kind of stuff. But he mentions the scene where they're doing the magic tricks and where Doc gets killed, but you don't see what happens to him. He said that if you look at it close, you can see him get pierced by whatever the magician or the they're doing. But I swear I put this thing on freeze frame and I cannot see it. So I don't know if they cut the scene out where they actually show it, and because he's there and all of a sudden he's dead, and it's like, what happened? He's got like a punctured heart or something, but you can't see what happened, and it always irritated me. But then he said that basically they did kill him in that scene, but they must have just cut the frame or the scene out. But hopefully someday that'll get restored. But again, another Scream Factory release. So if you guys aren't getting the tone of this, Scream Factory is putting out some pretty damn good movies.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
And I think you make a really good point, Newty, about 80s slashers. Like, we were censored unnecessarily, and you guys thought you had it bad in the States. It was worse up here in Canada during the fucking 80s.
Oh, I believe
and it was like, now you can get away with like fucking releasing the Serbian film, or Solo has a what does Solo have, Scotty? Criterion. Like, and if you want foul, Solo is probably the most foul thing I've had to sit through. And
you didn't sit there and take your pants off while watching it?
Oh man, I was like, eat that poo-poo. Yeah. 20 minutes of watching people eat shit.
Scott's like, where's part 2?
Oh man, is there more?
Ready.
And it wasn't a matter that he even offended me or upset me. Like, I got that it was shock cinema for the sake of shock cinema.
Yeah.
But we can have that. But we can't have a kill in fucking Terror Train. Yeah. It's a shame that censorship took place because the slashers were such an awesome time in the 80s.
I always, like a lot of my shows, when we talk about this topic, you watch CSI from 10 years ago in the 90s, CSIs, they were beheading people on TV. all kinds of these nasty kills, and these movies are getting censored because, and a lot of them didn't even have anything really major in them. Like Terror Train itself doesn't have a lot of gore. It has a couple of good scenes in it, but no real gore to be found. And yet these movies were being censored, and now you can watch it on the evening news or any TV show. And it's pretty amazing how far we've come.
Agreed. It's just a shame that some of the footage from some of these films have been lost.
Yeah.
That's what really sucks, right? Like that now practical, like, and all these kills, like, yet again, it's a movie, so it's not real. And all this hard work that these practical effects people did, setting all that up to be gone, it fucking sucks. But you know what? Who knows? Maybe they'll find more hidden reels one day and they'll be able to do another Scream Factory edition release.
Right? You never know.
You never know.
All right, so we're on to number 2 already. All right, so my number 2 is 1987's Blood Rage. I was quiet for a bit there when Newty brought it up because this was on my list. I fucking love this movie so much. I got the Arrow Blu-ray 5-6 years ago. Had no clue what this movie was about. I was just like, this seems like it could be fun. Watched it, and it is now a Thanksgiving tradition. I watch this every Thanksgiving. I absolutely love the fact that the same actor plays Todd and Terry. So you get the one killer that's just walking around, just having fun, like licking the blood going, it's not cranberry sauce.
Oh, that's what it is. Not cranberry sauce. I think that's the line.
And then just you have the quiet, reserved version of him walking around as his brother. And just the kills are so freaking good. Like you said, Newty, like when you watch this, it was just like, holy shit, this is freaking awesome. It's just a great violent 80s slasher that just somehow was like kind of like underrated for the longest time.
Yeah, it really was. That's the thing. Like this was my heyday. I grew up as a teenager in the 80s when the video stores were thriving. Literally, I would walk to the video store, rent 4 horror movies for $20 on the weekends, and spend my whole weekend watching these movies. And this was just another one in a long string of movies that just fell under the radar because you watch them, you go get some more, you watch them, you get some more. Some stick with you and some you just forget about. And this was one of those that I forgot about. And when I watched it in that Blu-ray package, it was like, wow, like this movie's fucking amazing. Like how did this not stick with me all these years?
Right.
It was always, all these other movies, and this one belongs right up there with these movies. And I'm so glad that I saw it and purchased that Blu-ray because this movie's incredible. And like you said, it's a yearly watch now.
Yeah, I'll say I just have so much fun watching it. Like I could almost recite it line for line now because I've watched it so damn much. Like
the Mutilator was another one that came and went in my head, and now that's another thing I watch all the time. I love that movie. I watch it all the time.
Yeah, it's just they're both done, which is kind of funny. They're both done released by Arrow, and they're both just like these slashers I'd never heard of at the time, and they're just so fun.
Yep.
And they capture the 80s perfectly.
Well, and even though the acting's cheesy, the characters are very likable in both films.
Yes.
I would say the acting on both films is on par. It's not great,
Yeah.
but you like what happened. You like the people and you care. And I think that's important, right? Yet again.
Yeah, and like with Blood Rage, I think the thing that really like sells me is the killer and the kills. Those things are like what really stand out for me.
The kills are really amazing. Right from the get-go in the drive-in scene in the beginning, like right away. It's just the kills they put a lot into the kills.
Yeah.
And I believe that the lead actress went on to do that 70s show or 80s show, Mary Hartman, which was like, I never watched it, but it was on like for 25 years or some shit.
Oh, wow.
One of them, not that long, but it was one of them long running shows of the early 70s, 80s. And so for her to do that movie, it was kind of a thing, back then. It was like, wow, what's she doing in this movie,
You're right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So yeah, Blood Rage 1987 is my number 2. So Newty, what do you have for number 2?
My number 2 has been mentioned already by one of you guys, but I couldn't take it out of my top and add another one because I love this movie to death. 1982's Alone in the Dark.
Nice.
This movie, Scott mentioned it earlier, I think, and or Heather did. One of you guys
Scott did. Yeah.
And I just couldn't take it out of my top 10, out of my top 5, because I love this movie. And another one, HBO cable all the time. And I love the fact that we have all these big name actors in this movie, and it's it's a great slasher. I mean, you have Jack Palance, Donald Pleasance, Martin Landau, who's incredible as one of the crazies.
Oh, he's
Dwight,
great.
Mad Dog, Dwight Schultz. You have Erland Van Lint, who's the big fat guy in this movie. He was in the Running Man. He played the singing killer in Running Man.
Oh, nice.
Lynn Shay is in there before you knew who Lynn Shay was.
Yep.
But the movie was written by Robert Shea, who, Nightmare on Elm Street and all that stuff from New Line. So him and Robert Shoulder, Jack Shoulder wrote this and directed it. Jack Shoulder did. He also did Elm Street Part 2. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah, this movie, man, it's just basically these 5 psychopathic killers that are in this nut house think that their doctor's abandoning them. So they want to take it out on the new doctor coming to town, and just so happens there's a power outage, and luckily they could escape, and so they drive to their local Walmart and pick up some weapons and just siege this house. But in the meantime, there's a few kills as they're traveling their way, and there's the scene with the mailman. I think it's the mailman.
Oh yeah,
riding his bike. So the mailman's riding a bike, and it's just, I won't spoil the scene if nobody's seen it. But this movie is coming out on Blu-ray. It's coming out real shortly. So
from Scream Factory.
Yes, and I hadn't pre-ordered it yet, but it's definitely going to be a movie I'm picking up, because I have to sell my DVD now, because the DVD was worth a ton. Now I want to sell it before it becomes not worth a ton.
Right.
But yeah, this movie's just epic in all its ways. I mean, you can't go wrong with Jack Palance and all these guys that are in this movie. And yeah, there you go. There's some creepy scenes in this movie too, and Alone in the Dark.
Hell awesome. Yes. I'm glad someone put that in their number 5. That's great.
Well, you guys both had it. Really, you mentioned it in honorable.
Yeah, I'll say mine was honorable mentions. Yeah.
And really, top 5s could be interchangeable. We could do this.
That's the 2 thing.
Weeks later, and we could be like, you know what? I mean, right?
We've probably already mentioned between the 3 of us 30 or 40 movies, and there's still 1,000 more that we could talk about. It's just, we'll have to do a part 2 to our top 5 at some time down the road.
We absolutely will bring you back. Don't you worry, Newty. This is not this isn't a one night stand, okay? This is, we ain't over with. We're all about the commitment, definitely, Scott and I. So my number 2 is something that's already been mentioned, but it's Happy Birthday to Me.
Nice.
And it was extremely challenging for me to find this movie. So to give you some background here, I tried to watch this movie before I even knew any of you fuckers existed. So 4 or 5 years ago, I went through this slasher kick before I even knew what podcasting was. And I could not find Happy Birthday to Me in Canada. I couldn't even rent it. It was so difficult to fucking find it.
That's a Canadian film too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. Wow. Now it's accessible everywhere. It's on Good Friends Plex. I could rent it if I wanted to, but I could not find it unless I was going to buy it. And I'm cautious personally about buying movies. I'm not a collector, and I would have to buy it on YouTube or whatever. And I was like, fuck that shit. I'm not going to buy this unless I know I'm going to like it. So when I finally got around to watching it, I was so excited. I don't usually do this. Usually I'll watch movies when I'm working or whatever, but I put it on my big screen TV. And I was all like, yeah. And it was amazing. It was worth the wait. I love the birthday scene at the end with all the corpses around the table.
Birthday scene's nuts.
I just think it is. And then that whole kind of twist ending that they have. And I really appreciate that in 80s slashers. I just think it's really, really clever what they do.
It's 2 twist endings to that movie. That's what's even better.
It keeps twisting and twisting. You're right.
Yeah.
Right. So
it's really good.
It is really good. Love it. We talked about it earlier. Comfort film. I'm so glad I have access to it now, so I can watch it as much as I want to. I could even buy it if I actually collected movies, but I don't. But yeah, so Happy Birthday to Me.
I think I own 3 versions of it.
Oh, wow.
I can believe it. I can believe that you do.
They released it on a 2-pack with He Knows You're Alone. Not He Knows You're Alone. The one with the killer who did you check the children? What's that one?
When a Stranger Calls.
When a Stranger Calls, but it had a different soundtrack to it because they didn't have the rights to the original, some of the original music on it. And then I believe it was Scream Factory released a version with the right audio version, so I had to pick that up, of course. But yeah, that movie, like I said before, I love it too. I just think it drags a little bit with the too much of the brain surgeries and that kind of shit going on in it. Like, okay, we get it. She had a brain trauma, but it's the mystery going on throughout that whole film. Who's killing who? Like, that's pretty damn good. I agree.
Yeah, I actually rewatched that one this week in preparation because I was like, I know I've seen it. I remember a couple kills, but I don't remember a damn thing else about this movie. And yeah, fucking great movie. Like, I was kind of shocked to see the runtime on it. I didn't realize it was that long. Like, I'm like, damn, all right.
That's another one that got hurt by the censors. I mean, the motorcycle scene, the shish kebab scene, which is on the poster, like that could be iconic. And the censors really fucked that movie up.
The poster's iconic, at least. But
yeah, I love that poster. All right, so holy shit, we are on to our number ones, and by God, my movie has not been mentioned. I am kind of surprised. So, my number one film,
Gremlins.
Yes.
That's not a slasher, damn it.
You would be surprised, Neil.
But my number one slasher from the 80s is 1989's Intruder.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
That's a classic.
I've said this every single time with these top fives, but I love this fucking movie. It's for one, having a slasher set at a grocery store is just freaking really unique and cool.
Yeah.
Gives for a lot of very, very gory and awesome kills. Very fun characters. I mean, you got Renee Estevez, Dan Hicks, Ted Raimi, Sam Raimi. Like, it's just got a lot of characters, and like even Bruce Campbell makes an appearance at the end.
Yeah, for like a second.
Yeah. And like I love once again that like twist ending of like the people survive, but then they're the ones getting blamed for it. And, oh man, like the killer is because Dan Hicks, spoiler, the killer, he's just so fucking wacky and out there when he finally reveals himself. And I just can't get past all like the just amazing kills in this film. I watched this film over and over and over again when I had it on DVD, and I wanted to get the Blu-ray, but it's out of print. I don't know if they ever re-released it, but if so, I need it in my collection because this movie is fan-fucking-tastic.
I have the Blu-ray. I have to look, but I think I do. You guys continue talking while I look.
Yeah, Newty. So just so we ever know, Newty's looking at his shelf right now. Figure out what he's gonna add to Plex later.
Yeah, I do have it. So
I
guess I'm lucky if it's out of print.
Yeah, the last I knew it was out of print. I haven't looked for a while, but I want to get this in my collection so bad because the DVD is good, but when it's a slasher, I want to get it in the crystal clear Blu-ray if I can.
For sure. Yeah, I love that film. You know what I like about that film though? It's layered. Like I like the conflict between the grocery store owners and how they're going to sell it, and then the conflict with the girl's boyfriend, and like even issues within the staff. Like I just actually think it's a really well done whodunit, and I feel like Death Spa tried to do that too. And as much as I do enjoy Death Spa, I don't feel like it was done as well as Intruder.
Yeah.
Right? I think Death Spa is funny, and I didn't put it on here because I just think it's hilarious. But that's, I think Intruder was actually doing it right.
Yeah. No, Intruder is just one of those, once again, that I never even heard of, and then just kind of came across to one day, and I'm going, how the fuck did this get under my radar?
Because there's a lot of good slashers, and there's some amazing franchises that I'm sure we may shout out at the end and talk about franchises too, because there's a couple.
You're gonna get
ones.
one next.
Oh my goodness! I wonder what it is. I'll never be able to guess.
I mean,
let's have it happen, Newty.
I can't not have a top list without this number one being my number one, because this is the one that started it all for me. I mean, Friday the 13th, it's my number one. I was 11 years old when this movie started playing the trailers on TV, and I literally got a bacon boner by these trailers. They just hit it for me. Like, that was it. I always grew up as a monster fan, Frankenstein, those type creature feature movies, but this one here, man, I begged my dad, take me to see this movie. I mean, I was 11 years old. In the 80s, you had to have a parent take you to these R-rated movies.
Oh, yeah.
Nowadays, kids walk into anything. But I just begged the man, take me. He finally took me to one of them dollar theaters, second run theaters, and literally this movie rocked my world. And it made me a fan of slashers, and that was it. This is the one that started me off. So it's going to be my number one. Whenever there's a slasher list, this is always going to be my number one. I
Hell
got
yeah.
to see it again in the theater last year, just before the COVID shutdown. I got to see it. They were doing a 40th, 50th anniversary, whatever, 40th anniversary. So I got to see it, and it was another great experience of seeing this movie in the theater. And I think I've seen it in the theater maybe 4 or 5 times.
Oh, wow.
And I bought it like 15,000 times because it's been released so many times.
Right.
So I own every incarnation of it. And I mean, you can see behind me all the toys on the wall and everything else. So this will always be my number one slasher. And I guess I have to tell the story that I've told countless times on every other podcast that I guest on when this movie comes up. My dad and I saw this movie when I was 11. At the time, I was in the Scouts. So a couple of weeks after we saw this movie, we went to Camp Yagu, and that was our summer camping week for the week. So about 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock in the morning, my old man woke me up. So let's go to the bathroom. So we went to the laboratory latrines, and it literally looked like the bathroom in Friday the 13th, where she got her axe in the head.
Oh,
so,
wow.
My dad, I'm taking a leak, and my dad's like, let's hurry the fuck up. This bathroom is scary as shit. So I always laughed that my dad was afraid of Friday the 13th more than I was. But yeah, it was pretty, one of them memories that I'll always have, go camping and my dad scared shitless of the bathroom.
That's amazing.
That's
amazing. Awesome.
Yes.
Neil, I have a question for you. So do you prefer Mrs. Voorhees or Jason as a killer? If you had to choose.
Well, I mean, I always say Friday one's the best, but I mean, Jason, how can you not pick? Jason's incredible. Like, it's like, what a character that is. And to go on and on the way the character is just a force. I mean, he's the best of all this franchise. I don't care what anybody says. Willis Wheeler likes Freddy. Freddy is a farce compared to Jason Voorhees. And Michael Myers is cool, but you can't, I don't know. Jason's the king. And I mean, Mrs. Voorhees was one movie, so I mean, I got to go with Jason as But I mean, Friday one will always be because of what it really holds in my heart is.
Well, if we didn't have Friday one, we wouldn't have Jason.
It's the one. So yeah,
that is awesome because that is a very excellent fucking slasher film.
It is. And it was awesome that they used this woman she was in soap operas at the time, right?
Soap operas, TV game shows, like she was like a princess back in the day.
And I really enjoy the characters in this. I enjoyed Kevin Bacon's kill. I think that kill really stands out to me. Always will. But Kevin Bacon, I don't think he talks about being in this film, does he? Like, he'll bring it up.
Now.
Now.
He's embracing it now. When he was younger, he didn't want to, like a lot of these people. But like even Mrs. Voorhees didn't want to talk about this movie till she realized, hey, I can make some money off of my fandom here because this is a big, it's a big thing. So a lot of them now are starting to embrace it. Like Dana Kimmel, she don't want to talk shit about it right now, but she hates Friday 3. But he's starting to embrace it. He's been doing a lot more genre work now too, with The Following and a bunch of other movies he's been in.
Well, he was in Tremors, right?
Tremors, and so he's starting to really embrace it now. I think he knows that it's not just some shitty movie from his past; that it's actually a well-known thing.
Well,
it's a phenomenon when you think about it.
You'll go to a convention, you can make a lot of fucking money. Can you imagine if Kevin Bacon showed up at a fucking convention? People would lose their mind. He could charge whatever he wanted. People would pay it. I wouldn't pay it, but other people would pay it for sure, right? That's cool. I'm not surprised that's your number one though, Newty.
Yeah, I had a feeling it would be.
Anybody that knows me would probably guess that. I mean, I've told this story 1,000 times now on different shows, and it's who I am. I love Friday the 13th.
Awesome.
Yep. And I am a huge Friday the 13th fanboy. And like I said, I would have probably had a top 5 just those films if I didn't force myself to just kind of cut out franchises.
Yeah, I didn't. I don't get me wrong, anybody listening. Halloween would normally be in the top of my movies. I mean, the movie's incredible. But we're trying to be a little different here.
Well, and Halloween's technically the 70s, so.
No, that's true. So it wouldn't be in the 80s.
Yeah, so Halloween 2 could have.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Halloween 2 could have fit in, which I think is a good companion piece to the first one.
Oh, yeah.
It is. It's a really good follow-up, actually. I guess
Heather,
it's me.
Yeah, I'm excited. What is your number one?
So mine is a Friday ripoff. It's The Burning.
Nice.
I also, like Newty, loved the original Friday the 13th. Still do. I don't think The Burning by any stance is better than Friday the 13th. It's just, I don't know what it was when I watched The Burning, maybe it was the opening scene, them playing baseball. Maybe it was like the shower scene with creepy Alfred. Maybe it was Glazer. Maybe it was them, them fucking canoeing out to the middle of nowhere, because when they canoe out, similar to Newty's story, my parents sent me to overnight camp when I was like in grade 7, and it was fucking hell for me. I did not enjoy it. It was like hot and there were mosquitoes. It was not my jam. And one of the nights we had to do this overnight camp trip where we had to get in the fucking canoes and canoe out to the middle of fucking nowhere, similar to like that rock thing that they were on. And I got out of the canoe and I'm like, where's the washroom? And they're like, the washroom is all around you. I'm like, this is fucking not my thing. So anyway, I wish there would have been a raft. I would have I would have gone and sacrificed myself just to get the fuck out of that situation. But anyway, and I love the scene where they're like paddling up to the canoe and then he jumps out. And I think that's another movie that I'm sure got, censored down.
Oh, it did. Right? It was considered one of the video nasties, or at least was on the chopping block for video nasty.
Yep.
Right. And I just, Tom Savini, when I first saw this movie, I knew nothing about that. Like, I watched horror movies and I thought I was a horror movie fan. It was only when I got to know people and joined Facebook groups and listened to podcasts that I would learn about like who Tom Savini really was. I didn't know. I didn't have Shudder. I was like a virgin. One of the few things still a virgin at. I got older. So like, I feel like I've learned a lot now, and The Burning has just stayed up there for me as something I could watch over and over and over again. I fucking love it. So I can never get bored of it. It's a comfort movie for sure.
It's a good film.
Hell yeah.
The kids are all fun. They're all a bunch, just kids, and they're all like all good actors apparently, because they're all busy today. So
right,
absolutely.
And like you said, it had a decent story to it. And the characters are great. The killer is great. I mean, the legend behind that. There's just so many movies that we can pick. It's like we have to do another show on this, just because.
Oh, we will.
There's so many more I want to talk about, but
Oh, we definitely will do another one for sure.
Now, if we want to, we do have some time. I know both of you are huge Friday fans. So if you had to choose your top 5 Fridays, what would they be? Take a second, think about it. Because I'm not as big of a Friday fan as you guys are. Like, I like them a lot, but I do prefer Freddy more. And I would never be like, Freddy's better than Jason. I just like the concept better. Like, I just enjoy that a little bit more. I like his wisecrack and shit. I find that entertaining. I got in trouble on our Facebook group because when someone posted the picture of me with my head being held by Michael Myers.
Who did that?
Oh, it was you. It was you, right? Sorry, I forgot it was you. And then I wrote, oh, it should be Jason. And I guess sorry, Jason Gray. I just thought it should be Jason because like of the beheading thing. It made more sense to me.
I couldn't find a picture of Jason. Somebody posted that Michael Myers one, but then like 3 days later, I guess they're selling all of them. So there is a Jason one and a Freddy one, and
I will definitely get it and put my head on there. It's true. I have a big head. Willis tells me I have a bowling ball head. You could roll it down the aisle.
I just love that your mouth's always open in all your pictures. Right? So like, and that was the perfect picture.
Limping as it continued on and me laughing the entire time. It'd be amazing. I'm sure I would sell one to my mom. That would be the only person that would buy it. What do you think, Scott? What's your list?
All right. So for me, my top 5 Friday the 13th films, it would be in this order. My number 1 favorite film is Part 2. Then it would be Part 4, Part 5. Then I would have to go with probably Part 3, then Part 1.
Okay. Newty, are you similar or are you different?
I'm actually straight edge on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think
nice.
I think 1 to 4 are just the perfect lineage of movies in a row. Boom, 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 boom. I mean, you get the origin, you get the return, and then the return, and then
it just keeps going and going.
Part 5, you get the swerve, but I always liked Part 5, and people shit on that movie for years because it wasn't Jason. But
I've always loved it.
I just love the comedy of it, and the Tommy Jarvis is continuing in it. And I love Part 6 as well. A lot of people shit on that one too.
I like Part 6. I think it's funny. I think the rating's really good.
Really, like probably 1 to 6 if would be straight in order, 1 to 6, and then like 7, 8, and you can interchange them. Like, I wasn't a gigantic fan of Friday the 13th, as they like to call it, the New Blood.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
I mean, it is what it is, and I still watch it and I like it because it's a great Jason in that movie, and there's some good kills, but I mean it's not the best movie in the world. And Manhattan is Manhattan. I mean,
Vancouver.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think Jason X is fun, even though there's too much CGI crap in that movie.
God, I hate that movie.
I think it's fun for what it is. It's fun. Freddy versus
Jason Goes to Hell. I've noticed you jumped over that one.
Yeah, that's true. I did. I forgot about that one. I liked it when it first came out. I'm not a huge fan of it now, but I think that one too, the unrated cut, is pretty amazing. That tent scene is probably the best kill ever in the series. The unrated cut of that. I guess the remake I liked. I thought it was great. For the reimagining, I thought it was really good, even though people don't like the tunnel. I'm not a fan of the tunnel aspect either, but it is.
I felt like that was just a Michael Bay shit. Honestly, Michael Bay directed that film, and I feel like he wanted tunnels.
I met the girl in that movie, the one who thought was going to be the final girl, but she turned out not to be. Yeah. I met her at a convention, and I got an autograph 8x10 of her from that movie, and she was like, "What'd you think of the movie?" And I was like, I was floored that you got killed. I'm like, you were supposed to be the final girl.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
She started laughing. She's like, yeah, right. That kind of put a little twist on things. But yeah, she's pretty cool. She's on the Flash TV show now, and
nice.
She's pretty cool chick. Yeah, I mean, for overall, I think Friday is the best series. I love them all. It's to a degree. I mean, I'll watch them all, even though some of them aren't the best movies ever. But
yeah, I'm the same way. Like, I say I hate Jason X, but I'll still throw it on every once in a great while.
Yeah, it's fun.
Like, it's just one of those that I just enjoy all the way through.
Yeah, Jason Goes to Hell, I think, was a movie that was ahead of its time. We just covered that on Slumber Party Massacre. And now rewatching it, I'm like, this movie was just too advanced for what they were trying to do.
That opening shit was really good. The opening scene was amazing.
Yes, absolutely.
And then it turned into what people call the Hidden. You ever see that? The Hidden movie? It kind of turned into that as a slasher. But that opening with the FBI and all that shit, and that girl driving in there, and that was perfect. Like, I love that part of it. And they tried something, which you can't. At least we had a Friday the 13th movie out there.
Absolutely, it was very New Line-ish, right? Like,
it was.
You see where New Nightmare got it. It's like I put New Nightmare in that movie in the same kind of category of doing something different.
Yeah, why the hell would Jason care if a guy had a beard or not before he transferred the monster?
Yeah.
Like, why would he shave him? Like, that made no sense. There's stuff that didn't make any sense, but I mean, they tried something, and they linked it to the TV show with that John D. Lemay character in the movie. He was in the Friday the 13th the series, so he left the series to make movies, and then he went and did a Friday the 13th movie. Go figure.
Yeah, right.
So, overall, I think, I would have to go 1 to 5 and probably straight down the line, I guess, because 7 or 8 are interchangeable.
Yeah.
So, how about you, Heather?
Oh, for me, I really have a thing for Tommy. 4. I love that little kid. I know that the fucking guy that played Jason couldn't stand him, apparently.
Yeah.
Is it Camp Crystal Lake Memories? What a fucking awesome documentary.
Oh, that is.
I have watched that documentary multiple times, and I love it every single fucking time. So 4, 2, 1, 3, and probably 6.
Nice.
And I really like 5. Don't get me wrong. I really like 5. I just think the dialogue in 6 is really good.
Yeah, I completely agree. And just because I want to bring it up because I have to give it a shout out. But since we didn't do franchises, my number one my number one slasher film of all time, though, Sleepaway Camp 2.
Sleepaway Camp 2.
Fucking love it. It is just so silly. Fucking what's her name? Pam Springsteen does such a fun. She just has so much fun playing Angela in this, and I just love her as Angela. The kills are just very entertaining and fun. Like, it is, once again, it's like that with The Burning, where Sleepaway Camp 1 and 2 I will watch anytime during the summer. Fucking love them both. But part 2, I have fond memories with that one because I was at my grandparents' house, and they would always record everything off of cable. So they just had this row of VHSs, and one night while they were sleeping, I was just kind of looking, and they had Sleepaway Camp 2, and I'm going, oh, I wonder what this is. And I was maybe 7 or 8 years old. Threw it on, and I'm going, oh, these are what naked women look like. And
Scotty was like,
You
drooling at the
rewinding
television.
I wore out those spots in the
Ruin the
VHS.
tape.
Rewind, play again, rewind, play again.
Yeah, and I just because I was right around the time that I started really getting into horror films at that age, and like just seeing the kills in this, I'm going, this is amazing. And I think my grandmother ended up coming downstairs to see what I was doing and yelled at me because she's seen what I was watching.
Of course, right? It was not for your eyes, Scotty. That's
exactly.
Why. That's
But
why.
yeah, that was my all-time #1 slasher if I had added franchises to my list.
Now, Sleepaway Camp series is great. It's
Yeah.
really, they filmed
So much
2
fun.
and 3 though on the same weekend. Can you imagine?
Yeah, that's insane.
God.
Yeah. Part 3
Like-
isn't that good, but part 2 is all right. 1 and 2
Yeah.
are good. 1 just didn't have enough gore. Like it leaves a mark for a movie that doesn't have a lot of gore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
does.
And a
very
lot of
surprising.
most of the kills are all cutaway, but there's at least a mark.
The thought of having a hot iron up my pussy sounds like the most painful way to die, though. I'm not gonna lie. When I first saw that scene, I was like, oh my God. Like, and I'll never forget talking to Dairy Queen with my friend about the ending, and people like the person and me turned around slowly and just stared at me. I'm like, what? You want to go? No, I didn't say that. I'm not. I'm super passive. But slashers have so much fun to them. They really are like the feel-good film is something that you can put on at any time and be like, you know what, I'm just going to watch a slasher. And I think sometimes they get a negative rap for that because they're not like the artistic thinking films that some people have come to know and love. But some slashers had some really deep plot lines that we kind of talked about today and did have layers to them. And not only, you don't always need bright lights and loud music and abstract camera work to make a good film.
Right.
Mhm.
And they like in all the story they were like the ones that were great at like covering the tale of being bullied and revenge and just, showing how people can be assholes and some people will snap because of it.
And like a lot of times you felt like the bully was justified. Like there was a lot of movies where you're like, yeah, you fucker, you deserve it. That's what you get for being a dick, right? Like, so. Well, thank you, Newty, for joining us today. We will definitely do this again. I think we'll probably end up doing slashers for all the different decades. The 90s should be fun. Like, especially the early 90s, like Dr. Giggles and the fucking dentist and like, I don't know what other shit we can find. Though I feel like Hospital Massacre was a direct inspiration for whoever did Dr. Giggles. Like 110%.
I could totally see it.
Right. But yeah, so maybe you could join us for that sometime, Newty, or if you want to stick to the 80s, we can just keep going.
I'm flexible.
You watch a lot of slashers, right? You watch even modern day slashers too, right?
Yeah, it's like hell, we could probably just do like our favorite slashers just in general, no year tacked on.
Oh man, but that's hard because
it's really fucking hard.
Like, Terrifier for me is like one of my favorite slashers that have come out in the last couple of years. But there's some other really good, like I really liked Aqua Slash last year. That movie was funny. It was great.
Fun.
Like it was fun.
Yeah,
right?
that whole set piece made the whole movie.
It did.
It was fun.
Right?
I thought I enjoyed it too.
So just one quick question for you, Newty, before we go, and you don't have to give spoilers to this, but are you excited for Halloween Kills?
Oh God, yeah. I can't wait. I love the last one.
You loved the last one? You really liked it?
I did.
Awesome.
I really thought it was a return to Michael Myers' goodness, and some of those movies aren't the best either, like Resurrection, and I still like it. I still like it. It's just it's stupid, it's silly, and what's his face, Buster Rhymes running around like an idiot the whole movie, but I think it has its thing, And yeah, this one, I love it. I can't wait for the next one, and I saw the trailer, and I'm hyped. Like I can't wait.
I'm so glad that you're excited.
It's going to be a theater watch for sure. The last one was too.
Awesome. Yeah, I can't wait personally for Candyman. I'm really excited for that one.
Yeah,
I'm excited for Halloween Kills. I liked the Halloween 2018. I'm not the biggest Halloween fan. I like the series, but I'm not like, oh my God, live, die by fucking Michael Myers. So but I thought it was a great breathing life into it. I thought it was an appropriate way to kind of bring it back. So Newty's blocking the camera. We can't see his sexiness anymore.
Happened?
Yeah,
that's all right.
No,
Newty.
I didn't mean to do that.
Keep them all guessing about how sexy you are and all the knowledge.
Oh, nice.
We're seeing a tour of Newty's
Those the Freddy and the Michael Myers is Halloween candy bowls. You put a bowl in their arm with candy, and the kids can take candy from it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Do they say shit?
No, they're just plastic or whatever. But I took the bowl. Took the bowls out of them.
Welcome to primetime, bitch.
Scare the shit out of kids.
Kids are like, what the fuck? That's awesome. Newty's room is sick, and he has a Jason mask with light coming out of it, so it almost looks like Jason lives. Did you see that, Scotty?
Yeah, that is awesome.
Oh shit!
It's because of the light below the lights below it.
Oh man, it looks good though. It looks awesome.
Freaking sweet.
So thank you so much, Neil, for joining us. It's such a
my
pleasure when you're here. I guess the first time you've been here with us, but we do work.
We record,
we
record so much. So,
yeah.
Did you want to kind of please share what you do and where people can find you?
Well, the NFW podcast is the main one that I've been on forever. Pretty much, like I said earlier, we just riff movies and have fun. Friends get together, drink, bust balls, and sometimes talk about the movie. Sometimes not, but most of the time we do. Right now, we're in a run of TV movies from the 70s and 80s. So we just did Tarantulas, The Deadly Cargo the other night. So that'll be coming out soon. We just did Demon Murder Case with Kevin Bacon, which is a movie based off of the Warrens, that movie that just come out, The Devil Made Me Do It. Kind of the same story. Same story as that. So that was an 80s TV movie. So we got a lot of good stuff coming up. Also do It's Not Horror Okay with Heather and Scott, which is basically anything but a horror movie. And we've been on a comedy run on that show lately. So we might change that up after our next one, which we're doing, I think, next week, right?
Yeah, the 29th.
We'll be doing Best in Show, which was a Venom pick, and I've never seen it, so it should be interesting.
Oh, it's a good movie. It's hilarious.
I love movies with dogs. So.
Yeah, I heard it's funny, so it should be fun. We also do Hard to Kill, which has been on a bit of a hiatus, which is action movies with Alex Edwards and Gary Hill. And my other show is It Really That Bad with Android Virus and Willis Wheeler and a couple of chicks, Mona and Sam.
Some babes.
It's their first time podcasting, so they're having a good time with it. And we basically pick movies that are said to be shitty films, and we watch them, and at the end we decide if it's really that bad or not. So the first one, of course, we did was Roger Corman's Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
So
I was on that one.
Yeah, Scott came on for that one. So go check out those shows if you like. And we are on the Dark Discussions Podcasting Network. Thanks to them for hosting us over there. So yeah, pretty much that's what I've been up to. And you can hear my sultry voice on some of the Legion podcast shows too, like Cinema Beef and some of Gary Hill's other shows, 2 Drink Minimum.
Hell yeah. And I'll say thank you very much for joining us too, Newty, because I'm glad that we got to have you on here and you get to see a different side of me that you're probably not used to very often.
Yeah, not an animal Scott on this show.
I'm just happy that he made us look real smart. We'd be like, oh, this slash. We'd be like, actually, this character was blah, blah, blah.
Right?
You know, and our world, Scott and I are like, we can't even get names of movies right. Thank God Newty's here.
That was fun. I definitely would love to do this again.
Oh, we'll definitely have you back on for sure.
Let me tell you that much. And cheap and easy.
Yeah, I'm very easy.
Yeah, both of us are. All 3 of us are. Who are we fucking kidding?
Yeah. Really?
So as we all know, this is a Legion Patreon exclusive, but Scott and I put out for free. So it will be on Legion Patreon for 2 weeks, and then it will be for everyone else. But if you're listening to this and you're like, oh man, I wish I got to listen to this earlier, you need to sign up for Legion Patreon, which is $3 a month. And there's lots of other shows that you can have access to. Scott and I will be on a hiatus because Scott's going up to visit his family in the wrong turn country of the UP. Hey, yeah, like seriously, Newty. Like, I'm not kidding. Like he goes up to where like it's hillbilly land. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, there's nothing up there. It's
like I'm pretty sure he's gonna get eaten by some cannibals. But if he comes back, our next episode will probably be released sometime mid-August. So this will be released just before he leaves and be a couple weeks off, and then we'll be back again. So we look forward to seeing you then. Anything you want to say to the people, Scotty?
Yes. Make sure not to do drugs, don't have sex, and always keep your lights on. Unpleasant dreams.
Bye.